Welcome to the Gravel Grinding Boys Palouse to Cascades State Park Trail Day 6, Part 1.
Well, good morning. We are in Ralston, about to head out. I'm not real sure how far we're going to go today. We're probably going to go anywhere from 60 to 70 something miles. Nice gentleman set me up last night over at the Ralston Grange. I slept on the floor, slept like a baby, I tell you what. I did wake up about 3:45, couldn't go back to sleep, and decided to get on up and get ready. I've got a long way to go today, hopefully 60 to 70 miles. We'll see where we end up. And oh my gracious, I was anticipating the wind to pick up this morning. That's one of the reasons I didn't sleep in the tent. But it is nippy this morning. I tell you what, it's nippy. I think a front's moving through, and we're going to get some wind today. I think that wind's going to beat us to death. Hopefully, beat us to death from the rear. Wouldn't that be nice? There's going to be a lot of detours today. I don't really like detours. It is what it is. So we got the bike all loaded up, and we're going to head on out and see what the day brings us.
Today was the most challenging day of all. I had a few goals to achieve with my intentions on making it to Rosela, Washington today. And as Robert Burns states in his poem, To a Mouse, the best laid plans of mice and men often go awry and leave us nothing but grief and pain for promised joy. But I'm not sure we'll end up with grief and pain in the end. But let's see where this 6-day journey will take us. There's going to be a lot of wind noise in today's video. Because of that, I'll add a bit more background music. Likewise, a lot of the on-the-trail dialogue was lost due to the noise. I'll offer a voiceover if needed. As with day 1 through 5, there'll be captions to follow along with.
There's all these big stones in the trail. Got a little smooth area. And then you move into a bunch of stones and it just beats the heck out of your butt. This is better.
I'd been leaving each morning at around 8 a.m. with a much earlier departure today, leaving Ralston around 5:45 a.m. I should have, but didn't expect the sun to be so right in my face. It does make sense. I'm heading east toward Idaho. And from what horizon does the sun rise each and every day?
This is pretty smooth. I like this. I could make it home today if this was the surface all the way, but it's not going to be. Ooh, this is nice. All luxurious. Let's crank it.
The wind did pick up. It sure did. And a tailwind at that.
Look at us.
Plus, the trail bed right out of Ralston had a nice smooth run. And I started to feel sort of giddy. So I kept my crank rolling, and I kept my eyes squinted, trying to see the way and make sure I didn't hit any trail trash, a large rock, or even a snake. And then, all of a sudden, I rolled right up on a big pile of dirt with a sign. Yeah, look at us.
So where do I go? Extreme hazard, closed to entry.
If you've been studying the Palouse to Cascades Trail, you will have heard of the missing Cow Creek Trestle. Salvage crews removed the Cow Creek Trestle in the early 80s while dismantling the bankrupt Chicago, Milwaukee, St. Paul, and Pacific Railroad line. The state of Washington purchased the right-of-way in 1981, but the Cow Creek Trestle had already been removed. The trestle was an impressive one at about 1,400 feet long and 100 feet above Cow Creek. As a comparison, the Beverly Bridge is about 3,052 feet long and 69 feet above the Columbia River. I've been having so much fun riding the wind. and trying to keep my eyes focused on the trail through sunglasses and blinding sunlight that I completely missed the Cow Creek crossing detour.
All right, into the road. We'll take a peek on the other side of this berm.
Like anyone would at this point, with what was a tailwind now blowing in my face and trying to get my GPS phone guidance map to give me some information in an area with absolutely no reception, the thought of trying to figure out a way across this did enter my mind. There is no reasonable and allowable way across this area, trust me. I was tempted by the short embankment and what seems like a short bridge down there across Cow Creek. But there are many barbed wire fences and a steep drop to get down there, not to mention the other side's climb back up.
I don't know. I don't know if that would be quicker or going back. I'm already here. Now I could go down that embankment right there, but I don't know if that's a good idea, because the only way to get down there is over that barbed wire fence. And that's what looks like a cliff. There's really no way down there. Well, it looks like I'm gonna have to go back, mainly because there's probably four or five fences I'd have to get over, and they would be barbed wire. I'll end up tearing something up, unloading and reloading the bike.
Aside from the possibility of trespassing, there's no way across this area to the other side. The possibility of trespassing was enough of a deterrent for me. The bad news is, if you end up like me and miss the detour, you'll have to turn around. But here's the good news. You get to see the historic Cow Creek Trestle area, and you'll be able to say one day, I remember when this was just concrete footers all the way across. And it's only about 3 miles back to the detour. If you look at the map, you may see a crossroads before you get back to the Cow Creek detour. This is not a road. As a matter of fact, if you were attempting to program your guidance map, or GPS, it may very well suggest that you continue past the Cow Creek detour and onto that road. It's lying to you. Be sure to take the set detour. If you attempt to go down what your map tells you is a road, you'll only be met with gates. The Cow Creek detour is possible thanks to the mutual agreement between the Washington State Parks and the TDH Properties, who owns this land. Cow Creek Trestle Bypass is only open from March 1st to October 31st each year. The Cow Creek detour takes you through open grazing land. There are bulls and cows out here.
Yeah, I thought I was more prepared for directions than that. I got plenty of water, but that is kind of a telltale there right there. We're in the high desert. Last water for 20 miles.
The trail is well marked, and sticking to that trail is the rule. Without the detour, we'd have to ride a road detour between Ralston and Marengo. Truth be known, the Cow Creek detour is very okie dokie and quite fun to ride.
There's a big old cow out there. Looks like a bull. Yeah, it's a bull. And I'm wearing red.
That wind was awesome today. If you look closely, you'll see the dust from the trail building up and actually blowing past me. It may not be as grandeur as the Cow Creek Trestle was back in the 70s, but any bridge is a good bridge as far as I'm concerned. This is the bridge that will take you across Cow Creek. Cow Creek Detour has many signs and guides you along the way. Just keep an eye out for them, and especially if the early morning sunlight is in your face. The gates on the Cow Creek Detour are very nice. It's my assumption that eventually Washington State Parks will get rid of the brass combination locks on other areas of the trail and install these types of gates. Well, that's not really an assumption. It's a classic hint, hint.
All right, back on the trail.
Going left here would take you to milepost 1927 and the site of the Milwaukee Road's Columbia Express wreck from May 30th, 1911. I'm not sure if there's anything really down there anymore, but it is a site of a terrible accident. Riding the Palouse to Cascades Trail for me was more than just a challenge I set for myself in my life. It was a ride through history. There are so many points along the way that were experienced in different ways by different people and at different times. You may pass over an area of this trail that looks like any other part of the trail, but may have had a significant place in history and even other people's lives. What may seem like a redundant bit of terrain may have been very significant and familiar to another person, and as familiar as the back of their hand.
When you see trees in the middle of nowhere, somebody put them there at some point in time. It makes you wonder what was out here. This looks like it used to be somebody's step to their home. There's like a basement area, cinder blocks. This looks like an old sink. It was at some point in time. Very cool. Somebody made their whole life out here, or they worked here off the railroad, who knows. Looks like old gas plumbing. Some steps. Barbed wire. Yeah, don't bring your bicycle down here. Pictures, tell you what. Let's get back on the trail. We got a long ways to go.
Take note when arriving at Marengo, Washington. About 9 to 10 miles away, and about a half mile before Paxson, Washington, is where the Palouse to Cascades State Park Trail crosses under the Columbia Plateau State Park Trail.
Almost didn't see that. The sun's up there. Huh. I wish I had a red flag to hang off of it. I might put that piece of wood on before I leave just to notify folks. But that'd make for a bad day running into that. bike is plowing over this stuff, but it is bumpy. It's definitely a wear on your rear end, I tell you what. Gates about every few yards, it seems. Just about the time you find a good spot on that saddle, you have to get off of it and work a gate, and every one of them have a different mechanism. This one's got another lock. Oh my gracious.
This is where the Columbia Plateau State Park Trail crosses over the Palouse to Cascades State Park Trail. I'm not sure why the two trails are not connected here. The Columbia Plateau State Park Trail is a 130-mile trail that starts southwest of Spokane and follows the Snake River ending at Pasco. Basically, you can ride from Spokane, Washington to the Tri-Cities, Washington. The Tri-Cities include Kennewick, Pasco, and Richland, Washington. After Revere, Washington, you'll come up to Davis Road. This is another one of those GPS guidance apps telling me one thing and the trail telling me something else.
My map tells me to turn on Davis Road right here. But there's nothing here that says I need to. No signs for detour or anything. I don't know why, but I'm going straight.
The app was telling me to take a left, but there wasn't anything on the trail to suggest otherwise. I ignored my navigation app and rode on. There's an easier and very short detour ahead, and a short shared use section of the trail also known as Wagner Road. Just ride ahead and cross the bridge at Wagner Road.
I think right there you can just keep going straight. I think the only reason they detoured it is because of the bridge. But here you can stay on the trail more time.
Follow Wagner Road for a very short distance and then you'll merge right back onto the trail. We're coming up on another major detour. This fence and gate looked like it meant business.
So we're at a detour here, private property. That's too bad. Gigantic resource like this for many people, but then again we do live in a republic, so it is what it is.
This ride took place in June 2024. The map that was available on the website at the time was map date December 1st, 2023. The map that is available as of October 2024 is from August 12th, 2024. Both maps show the area on the other side of this fence as orange. And according to the map legend, the orange here means it's open but unimproved. We'd been riding this color orange per se since we'd left the Columbia River. My guidance app shows green line or trail ahead and on the other side of this fence. But at the same time, it suggested that I take the right here on the detour. I'm not sure why the gate is across the trail here and closing off the next few miles to another road. I'm not sure why this isn't the route to a small area ahead as a detour. However, the sign says we need a detour here at this point, and my guidance map is directing me to turn right. I'm sure that in the future, I'll find out why the more direct way here is not allowed, with a private property dispute likely being the reason. The online map suggests that going forward is okay, but that fence, this sign, and my guidance map tells me another story. There are two ways to detour here. A short way by taking a left here on Texas Lake Road and riding up to Wagner Road, and taking a right east on Highway 23 and then into Ewen. I try my dangness to avoid highways. I elected to take my guidance app suggestion and turn right on Texas Lake Road.
So what we're going to do is take this little detour like it told us to. I don't know if you see that there in the road.
Right off the bat, I ran across my first snake. Well, the first snake I noticed. They sure are camouflaged against that gravel. Texas Lake Road goes south and right into the wind that we're having today.
It's coming straight at us, right in our face.
Take Texas Lake Road to the road sign that says Cayuse Lake Road. The maps call it Mail Route Road. About 7 miles ahead, turn left and back toward the north on Cherry Creek Road. Then about 3 more miles right into Erwin, Washington. After crossing Comanche Creek, you'll hit pavement and then a short span onto Highway 23. Pretty much right across Highway 23, you'll be back on the trail. Well, kinda. You'll actually be on Rock Lake Road and parallel to the trail. I couldn't find an access to this area. It seems the Northwest Grain Growers operation are sitting right on the original trail bed. You'll stay on Rock Lake Road for about 1.5 miles before turning right onto Gene Webb Road. The area ahead that would follow Rock Lake is closed, with my understanding that it's all private property. I will share the same question each of you all have. Why isn't the right-of-way held here? I'm sure there are many issues that I'm unaware of, but this area would really be a wonderful part of the Palouse to Cascades Trail to ride. Instead, you'll need to detour on Gene Webb Road. Though I don't like detours, this route does take you through some very beautiful countryside, and much of it is gravel back roads. We're starting to enter the Palouse region of eastern Washington. The story tells us that the Native American tribe that originally was from this area was known as the Palouse. Enter some French-Canadian fur traders and a bit of transliteration. We now have the name Palouse, meaning ground covered with short, thick grass. Ride Gene Webb Road about 2.5 miles to Stephen Road and take a left. Expect some ups and downs here in the Palouse. The ups make you stronger and the downs make you happier.
getting into an area called the Palouse. Rolling grassy hills, usually covered in crops, but hills nonetheless. We're still on our detour, trying to make it all the way back to our trail. I just love this little scene.
Stephen Road will take you all the way to Pine City Road, about 12 miles. Looking at the map in hindsight, I wish I would have paid attention to an area about 7 miles after turning onto Stephen Road. Not that I would have taken a route that would have been trespassing, but I would have liked to paid attention to what was there. My guidance app tells me there's a road back over to the trail, but Google does not agree. When I tried to map this point onto Stephen Road over to the trail, it sent me on a loop. However, looking at that loop, it does appear to be an earlier access point over to the trail rather than staying on Stephen Road and eventually Pine City Malden Road. One point of interest that I will definitely investigate on my next trip to the Palouse to Cascades State Park Trail is the Pine Creek Bridge number 7. Making these videos had me researching many of the sites that I'd missed and didn't even know about when I first rode this route. About a mile before coming to Pine City Malden Road from Stephen Road, there are 2 roads shown on Google Maps called Kennewa Road and Hole in the Ground Road. Taking either of these roads will cause a bit of backtracking, but more time on the trail. Looking back up one of these 2 roads, you should be able to reach Pine Creek Bridge number 7. There's an old wrecked boxcar. Yep, definitely something I'd like to see on my next trip. Again, pay attention to the signs. Sign, everywhere a sign. Blocking out the scenery, breaking my mind. Do this, don't do that. Can't you read the sign? Yep, I got that song stuck in my head too. It is what it is, and at least we got what we got. Like I used to tell the kiddos when I was a school nurse, you'll get what you get and you won't throw a fit. Okay, back to our Stephen Road and Pine City Malden Road turn. Turn left onto Pine City Malden Road, and in no time you'll be rolling into Pine City, Washington.
Trail is right here. They keep wanting me to detour on that map. I'm staying on the trail. We'll see what happens. Emergency.
And in no time, you'll be faced with another sign. Emergency closure. As I understand, the trail is open but not passable, kind of like other areas on the trail, almost like a sign on the road that says no through traffic. You can go this way, but plan on turning around, and you'll return to the same point you're at now. My understanding is you can go down for a look-see, but be aware there's no viable way across the section of trail. You will end up taking the detour. This is a sure thing. Keep in mind that the land between the Pine City Malden Road and the Palouse to Cascades State Park Trail is private property. You'll not be able to ride down the trail and then cross over to the road later. Doing so will cause you to need to cross a deep ditch, jump fences, and likely cross private property.
You really have to watch for those in the trail. This old boy is just warming himself up. Yeah, it got burned up pretty good, didn't it? Ooh, look at those spikes sticking out of it. Ooh, that's pretty creepy. Think we can make it across? Yeah, when you see that emergency, yeah, I'd suggest going ahead and taking that detour. Trust me, take the detour. It's tempting. Take the detour.
From Pine City, and after about 3 miles on the Pine City-Malden Road, you'll finally turn back onto the trail after 33 miles, give or take, of a detour that started back there on Texas Lake Road where we saw the snake. After riding 65 miles thus far today, over half of those miles have been detour miles. The good news is we're only about 10 miles from Rosela, Washington, and hopefully a beer and a bed. Well, rather a mat in a tent. After riding 65 miles already, I was running dry and really needed to fill up on water. What do you know? Look-a here. Coming into Malden, Washington trail access here was a real treat. There are all kinds of new improvements to this parking area and trailhead. The trail bed is smooth and nice compared to other areas on the trail I've ridden thus far. The wind had subsided some, but I still had a nice breeze to my back.
So I'm in Malden right now. It's been a long trail. And you know what I'm thinking about doing? I don't think I'm going to stay the night in Rosela. I think I'm going to go ahead and push it on through and make it all the way to Plummer tonight. Rosela, I think I'm going to go ahead and push it on through and make it all the way to Plummer tonight. Just hit the bricks and make it happen. We got about 4 hours in front of me. And we're going to make a long day today. We may, I don't know how many miles we'll end up. We'll probably hit 100. 100 in this kind of dirt. Tell you what, that's a butt kicker, I tell you what. Tomorrow it's going to rain. And I wanted to kind of push a little farther, but I got things to do and work on Monday. Oh my gracious, work. Oh, but I can't make these trips possible if I don't have a job, right? Bicycles aren't free. So I'm going to head on down the road and I'm going to make this trail end today. I'll keep you updated along the way.
This last day covered so much ground that I felt it necessary to create a 2-part video of Day 6. Most will, at this point in the trail, stay overnight in either Malden or Rosela and pick up the next part of the trail on the next day. Part 2 of Day 6 will pick up the journey from Malden to, well, who knows where we'll end up. If you've enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up if you will. Hit that subscribe button and give a bit of a ring on that bike bell.